This session we're going to go through the functionality of the audit module. The audit module is broken down into three different components. What we have is the audits, which is the final output along with the reports, the question bank, which is the master list of questions which all of the templates are compiled from. So we'll start by going through how to set up questions within the question bank. So the first step is obviously we add a question over here, and for the purposes of this we'll use the AMC 70 checklist as a starting point. So it's pretty straightforward. This is a fairly simple checklist. We can see here we've got just answer responses of yes, no, not applicable, and we've got a reference section over here which is obviously a free text, so you need to be able to type text into the question response. So step one, just take your question text, and I mean you can do this in any way. You can take it out of Excel, you can manually type it in. This is just to show you that it can be cut and paste into here. So first section, your question text obviously goes in there. We have some different fields here, so if someone was actually responsible for this, we could select a department, HSE or safety. The category, this can be used in different ways. So the way that it's been used here is we've used it for AMC 71 to categorize the different questions into the different sections. But what other companies have done is you can categorize into the type of thing you're looking at, like firefighting, gas detection. But for the purposes of this, we'll just use it, we'll categorize these questions as AMC 70 questions so that they're easy to find within the question bank. If we have references to the particular part of a manual, the reference can go in over here. You can put a description in of what the question is about, and this description here is actually for the inspectors. So if there's further text on what you're meant to be looking at or what you want the inspectors to look at, you can add this description here, and within the mobile app this will pop up and give the inspectors some further reference around what they're looking for. Particular areas, if you're going to expand out further, you can select those different areas, but for the purpose of this, obviously it's a heli deck or a heliport, so you can put whatever you need to put in here. With these particular fields, you'll need to get in contact with admin, and the admin can add these new categories and departments because they're different back-end fields that need to be populated. So once the question's saved, you obviously just click Save. And that's stage one done. So we've got the question in there. The second part of what we need to do is we need to put an answer format in. So this answer format is fairly simple. So for that particular question, we had one field called the reference field. And it's a free text field. So we basically just select that, save that. We've got the first part there, which is the reference, and where that goes back to what we're looking at here. So we have the manual page reference field. We create that answer label, and that's reflecting what's in the checklist. The next field we had was the compliance status. Yes, no, not applicable. So what we do there, we can add another answer type. And we have one down here in the existing tables called yes, no, not applicable. So we just select that one, and what we'll do is we'll move that up to order 1. Answer type, it's a single selection because we can only select yes, no, or not applicable. So we select single selection there, and then that'll give us the ability to select one of those when it comes to the audit. So we save that one. So to order them, we can just put an order number here, and that'll push this one down. So we see there we've got our compliance status and our manual page reference, existing table, and that's our question completed. So we see there we've got our question, we've got our response types, and as you can see here, what I'll also show you is if you need to add different answer labels, you can then basically just go down here and select. So if you want to select images, videos, or audio, so if you're actually making audio notes, you can select audio there. Order it down, so it's the last one. And what you can see here is we've got three answer types, answer responses that we need to fill out for this particular question. So there we have, that's one question. Once we have one question done, as you can see up here, we have an option to copy that question to the next one. So if everything is the same, you can basically just copy this one. It's been copied, so that'll come along with all of the same answer sites as the previous question, and then you can just change the text. So we go back to our question 2, conditions for use of the heliport. Change that. It's still AMC 71. We can change the description of the reference info if we need to, and we save that one. So that's 2 questions that we've added to start the AMC 70 heliports checklist. So we can go out of there, and if we start to search for them, we can actually search using the filters. So we've got a filter over here. So we're looking at category here. So if we want to just select the heliport one, we can type in this AMC 70, or just we can search for it. There's not many here, so we've just searched for it. So then we can apply the filter, and now we can see the 2 questions that we've just added. The next step is we can just fast forward to pretending that we've got all of these questions added into the AMC 70 checklist. We then create a template. So the way that we create a template, we go across to templates. We can see here we've got the existing AMC 71 template. And we want to create a new AMC 70 template. So obviously over here we click on add. We can call it whatever we want, but for the purpose of this we'll just call it the same here. We'll call it the AMC 70 heliports operations checklist. AMC heliports operations checklist. What we do is we can create a PDF export out of the back. So what we would do there is if we had created the export template, we would select that. So we have the AMC 71 template. We could create an AMC 70 export template, and that's what would be selected against this. So we save that template. And then what we do is the questions get added against the template. So we can go and search for those particular questions. So we add a question. Just to make it easy, we've created that filter, the category for it. So we'll go back and find the AMC 70. And then you can see them there. So we've got those 2 questions. And then we can start to order those questions in the way that we want them. So we can have a look here and we can see that the first question is the purpose and scope, followed by the conditions. So we go back, we select this one, we select this one. So we make this one. We can make this one 1.1. This particular order number is down to 3 decimal places so that you can then create subcategories of part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. So that makes it fairly useful when we need to have these different sections here. We can make this question 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and so on. Then these ones become question 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, and so on like that. So then we add those 2 questions. And here we have the 2 questions added to the AMC 70 Heliports Operations Checklist. Further to start to categorize these questions for an export template, we can start to add the sections. So we can see that both of these questions are part 1 general information. So to start to group the questions, we can start to use these sections within the template. So we can go back here, we see here order 1 section. We just add the part 1 general information to each of these questions, and then that will group them when we have the PDF export. Alright, so we can see we've added these 2 questions to the template AMC 70. So we've got this template with 2 questions. So we'll save that. And what we'll see next is that we've actually got an AMC 70 Heliports Operations Checklist template here. We've got the 2 questions against it, and we're ready to go to start an inspection. We go to the audits. The audits is what we conduct on site. We can see here we've got a number of test audits in here, but we'll add another one with the AMC 70. So we're going to conduct an AMC 70 inspection. You just click add up here. The dynamic audit button basically drives the system to select those questions that we added against each question. If we don't select dynamic audit, it becomes a fairly detailed one with all fields displaying. So with dynamic selected, those question types that we selected previously with the yes, no, not applicable and the reference, those are the only questions that will show up along with a couple of others. The template we select, AMC 70, we select the auditor. The auditor initially selects the person that's logged into the system, so it should actually select you if you're logged into the system. If it doesn't, you can just run a search and select you, then you're the person that will show up. We select start date, we select end date if it's more than 1 day. Person responsible. The person responsible, that's the person that's responsible for the closeout actions of the audit. It's not the actual auditor themselves, it's the person responsible for making sure that actions are actually closed out. We'll just select one of the test subjects in the system. Operator representative, that's obviously a client representative if there is one. And then these fields actually all pick up from the system, then generate in the final output report. The status field, what it actually does is it sets up your audit plan or your audit schedule for the year. So you can actually have audits that are in the future. So you could actually change this audit that was going to happen in December. Then it's going to actually generate on the dashboard that you've got scheduled audits upcoming. So we can say that it's actually this one's planned. Audit number is automatically generated. The audit owner, again, that would probably be the person in charge for a site as opposed to someone else who may be responsible, like a helideck landing officer or somebody else. But these could be the same. It's entirely up to you how detailed that you need to go. Location and site. So what we have with location, that's the particular field. So we can select a field where we're actually going to try and group things into. So this one we'll use the Zukum field, the site, particular rig that could be moving around, so we can select this particular rig. The site item, that's the actual heli deck. So if that particular site hasn't got a heli deck, you need to go in and add the heli deck. And we can show how to do that in a minute. But first we'll find a site that's actually got heli decks against it. So we'll use this one. And what we'll do is, this is obviously a site that's got multiple heli decks for testing purposes, but some sites like a mother platform or a LQ could have more than one heli deck. So that's why we need to select the correct heli deck that we're going to be inspecting. The company, obviously, the company that's owning that particular site, it could be a drilling contractor, it could be a national oil company, but we'll just select one for testing purposes here. OIM Barge Master, Installation Safety Officer, these also generate onto the final report if required, so they need to be selected. So all fields have been selected. We've selected the dynamic audit, so it only uses those few question answer types that we created, and we click Save. And what you'll see is an audit number will be automatically assigned, and then the items or the questions are already populated against this particular template. So a lot of these questions can be either populated in the office on this web application, or if it's going to be an inspector going out to do the inspection at site, the audit at site, they can they'll sync these audits that are against them to their mobile device, to their tablet, and they can then start to undertake the inspection out at site. So if we look at the question, we've got the compliance status. So the compliance status, if we go back to this, was actually what we created here. So the compliance status was yes, no, not applicable. And we had the manual page reference. So we'll see the manual page reference there. And then we added the download. So we've got the attached file question. We added that, that's there, so we can basically we can upload a file against this answer, this question. And classifications. So if something's critical, obviously we can flag that. Not applicable, minor, major. This can be changed, but that's just what we have in there for the time being. If something's completed, we flag yes. This field here can be used if needed, but this allows someone else from an office, if it's inspectors, field inspectors, someone from the office can actually approve that this is correct, or they can reject it. So if the finding was actually, they took a photo of something that was actually was faulty, the on-site operations person can actually reject that, and then it can be flagged as rejected and changed to a different category. If there is actually a corrective action from one of these questions, a new action, corrective action, preventive action can be added. So the way that we do that, we've obviously got new action, and then we add it. So this is the corrective actions part of the system. So if it's something pretty serious, we can create that, describe what needs to be done. Who's responsible? Could actually be lights are out, it could be something that's documentation, so you just select the right department. The person, and a due date. So you can set that due date based on how critical it is. So if this was something that was super critical, you'd give them a couple of days. If it was something not so critical, it could be a couple of weeks. So then we can save that. And we have one action against that inspection. Obviously we can see here that there's a number of other test actions that we've put in here. Right, you can see here, this is the last one that we put in. So back to the questions. We can click on that and we can see that it's actually got an action against this particular question. So moving on, the inspectors can go through and complete the inspection, and then it's back to the office for some quality assurance, quality control, and we have the audit sitting within the system. If we have an export report, a PDF output against the template, the particular audit can be exported into a PDF. So if we look here in this example here, this is an AMC 71, so we do have a template against that, an export report, a PDF. We can just click over here. We can filter down to particular questions, but for this we'll just generate the whole report. And what we'll see is that we've actually got export that can be passed on to others to see. Obviously this one hasn't been populated, but at the end of this one, all of your actions. So if there's any actions that are outstanding, those actions will be described here. Other parts of the audit system, we do have some work in progress on dashboards. So what you'll start to see here is some of the data will start to populate on different sites, actions with expired due dates, audits conducted per site. So these will start to populate as more data goes into the system. So that's a basic overview of the audit module, how to start with questions, to create a template, conduct audits, and generate reports with actions.